adventures of Biggles. Biggles sends Pat and Ginger in one of the Bristol freighters to collect the first load of rubber from Shancy. Ginge flies low over the paddy fields, which Major Marling had promised to drain and build into a landing ground. But there seem to be clumps of trees growing on them, and there are men scurrying towards the patches of foliage. Pat recognizes them. They're not trees, but camouflaged planes.
Turn back, Ginge, quickly. They're already dragging the branches off the kites.
But I don't get it. Why should there be planes down there? Marling hasn't any planes.
They're enemy kites, they must be. Look, there's one clear now. It's a fighter. Hurry, Ginger, we'll never get away.
The swine must have taken the property since we were there.
And they'll take us too. That plane's beginning to move.
Oh, it's all right, Pat. We're going as fast as we can go in this confounded pantechnicon. Are they following us? I can't see anything in the reflector.
They don't seem to be. Yes, there are two of them. They were hidden by the sun. Faster, Ginge, you'll have to go faster.
Well, that's easy to say, but this old bus wasn't built for speed. I'll do what I can.
It's no use. We'll never shake them off. You'd better stand by to dodge.
Are they as close as that?
They'll catch us within a couple of minutes.
You know, we haven't a hope of dodging them in this, don't you? I can't maneuver a cargo plane.
You'll have to hug the ground. It's all you can do.
Either that or... No, by George! That's what we want, over to the south.
Cloud! If we could fly into that, we'd be safe. Can you make it in time, Ginge?
I can try. It's only a couple of miles away.
So are the fighters.
Well, we'll give them a run for it. Almost there. If we could just grab an extra burst of speed...
We're too late. There's one of them on our tail.
Correction. Two of them. But we're on the outskirts of that cloud bank.
It's growing thicker. Visibility must be hard for them.
But they can still see us. Come on, old girl, just a bit faster. Right into the heart of it. How are we going now, Pat? Can you see the other kites?
No? No, I can't see anything. Ginger, I think we're... Oh, no, they're still about.
Yes, but much further off. That burst was wild. He didn't see us. He was just pumping bullets out and hoping.
Then
We've dodged them. They're running round in circles back there in that cumulus. All we have to do is keep plugging along on this course and we'll be safe.
I hope we pull out of this cloud soon. I was glad of it when the fighters were following, but I'll change my opinion if we're lost in it.
We won't be lost. A bit off course, that's all.
But do you know where we are?
Well, I should say we are approaching the sea, halfway down the coast towards Malaya. I swung west about 15 minutes ago.
It's the sea that's worrying me. If we happen to come out over open sea, we may be in a spot. I'm a fool not to have been charting our position.
Oh, hang it all, Pat. We had two fighters on our tail. You don't worry about navigation at moments like that.
No, but if we lose ourselves...
You're worrying too much, old thing. If we're over open sea, I'll simply turn east until we hit the coast, and then follow it until I know where we are. There, look, the cloud's breaking now. We'll cut through and see what's below.
It is open sea.
No, look behind us. There's the coast. We're well out, but...
Ginge, those three ships down there. Fly closer so that I can see them properly.
Why? Friends of yours?
I don't know. Don't go too close, it may be dangerous.
3 ships? Pat, you mentioned 3 ships when you told us...
Wait a moment. I'll tell you for sure. They look like them. The lead ship's a destroyer.
Pat, they are. Those are the ships that picked up Algy. They were sailing at about 30 degrees east and were a little over 100 miles from here.
Well, that's very interesting, Ginge, but we'll leave it for the moment. Tell me about Shancy.
But aren't you going to do something about Algy?
One thing at a time, old son. You know, life's growing so complicated now that we'll have to dovetail our activities. So Shancy's been lost, eh?
Yes. We didn't put down because there seemed to be several clumps of trees growing on the landing field. They turned out to be planes camouflaged with branches.
Clumsy camouflage for an open field. How many of them were there?
At least 2 fighters, and I think 2 or 3 others. What did you see, Ginge?
I was too busy looking for a way of escape to see anything. No more than 6 altogether, I'd say.
That's still too many for us to tackle with unarmed kites. It seems we'd better write off the Shancy operation. I don't suppose you saw anything to suggest what happened.
Nothing, I'm afraid. Except that there seemed an awful crowd of blokes there. They were running everywhere when we flew over.
Yes, that'd be the force that took it. It would need to be fairly large because Marling would have been more prepared this time. Jolly hard lines the old boy went under. He was a real fighter. Well, now, let's consider the gen about the ships. Lye's chart is on the wall there. Point out their position for me, will you?
Just a sec. Well, I should say they were just here. Well, to the north of this island.
I see. And sailing on what course?
30 degrees east. I swung onto it for a moment to check.
All right, we'll work it out. At that position, they'd have been 102 miles from Victoria Point.
That's where we think they were heading.
Yes, well, we'll check on that, Pat. 30 degrees east. Yes, that would bring them to the coast a few miles to the south of the estuary. But then if we allow for the fact that they'll have to weave between islands, it leaves no doubt that they're heading for Master Fire Tuck. Very interesting.
And Algy's with them. They're the same ships I saw pick him up.
Yes, I realise that, Pat, but there's more involved than Algy. How long is it since you saw them?
About an hour and a half.
102 miles. Well, they'll put in some time tonight.
But before then, we'll have to get Algy free.
How?
Well, I don't know how, but we can't leave him aboard, Biggles. They won't worry to keep him prisoner for long. They may have killed him already.
In which case, old boy, we'd achieve nothing by tackling the impossible.
But we don't know he's dead. And while ever there's a chance...
Look, Biggles, couldn't we use the Sumatran in some way? She's quite a big ship, and with the kites to help.
The Sumatran's being loaded with rubber as fast as Lye's men can sling it aboard. Now, it's essential that she leave for Singapore tonight, before the destroyers have a crack at her.
We could keep loading until Tug and Bertie come back with the empty kites. Then I thought we could carry out a similar stunt to the one that threw off the attack this morning. Arm the kites and the ship as best we can, and...
And go in against naval guns?
Well, I know it wouldn't be easy. But good grief, Biggles, anything would be better than leaving Algy in their hands.
My dear boy, an attack like that would be lunacy. We'd lose the Sumatran and possibly our kites. And now the old tub's ours, we certainly aren't going to give her up. Now, that's a factor that concerns me most at the moment. What job will those ships be given when they put into Victoria Point?
You mean they'll be sent against the Sumatran?
Yes, I'm sure of it. That's why we must get rid of her before dawn. But even if she isn't here, they'll almost certainly shell the island and perhaps destroy our runway. Fire Tuck must know of that by now.
And the whole rubber operation will be sunk. Yes, I see what you mean.
Yes, well, that's the problem we're facing. We'll get the Sumatran away. We must. And then it's not a case of how we can attack the naval vessels, but how we can defend ourselves against them.
And there's nothing we can do about Algy?
Yes, Ginge. Yes, there is something we can do. But first, the other difficulty must be faced. Until we've ridden over that snag, I'm afraid Algy must fend for himself.
Good evening. I trust you have been treated well.
I've been fed, if that's what you mean. What are you doing with me? How long are you going to keep me prisoner here?
That will depend upon you. I have not visited you since you came aboard, because our captain has been awaiting instructions concerning your disposal. They have been received.
What'll it be? A knife in the back and tossed overboard?
You adopt an unpleasant tone. I advise you to change your attitude.
All right, all right. What is to happen to me?
You are to answer some questions. If your answers are satisfactory, you will be allowed to live.
You can go to blazes.
I shall read them to you. The first question is, what are you British concerned with on Dolphin Island? I shall repeat the question. What are you British concerned with on Dolphin Island? You heard the question?
Certainly I heard. You read quite well.
What is your answer? I am awaiting your answer.
I gave it to you. Dead silence, old boy, that's all. Dead silence to every question on your list. Now clear out of here unless you've something sensible to say.
You refuse to answer?
You know, you're really very bright. I didn't think my subtlety was going to sink in.
I do not understand this talk. Will you or will you not answer my question?
You can have it as flat and definite as you like. No. I'm answering nothing.
Then I must comply with my instructions.
Pistol. Why are you pulling that gun?
I have been instructed that if you will not answer clearly and truthfully, I am to kill you. You will now die.
Algy pales as the rebel officer raises his pistol. Unarmed, how can he escape death? Be sure to hear the next thrilling chapter of The Air Adventures of Biggles. The Air Adventures of Biggles. Aboard the rebel destroyer, Algy has been confined to the ship's prison ever since his capture. He has seen no one but the steward who brings his meals, and he therefore welcomes the officer who visits him on the afternoon of the following day. But the officer has little news. His purpose is merely an interrogation of the prisoner. When Algy refuses to answer his questions, he produces a revolver. Algy is to be killed.
My orders were that you were to be asked the questions, and that if you did not answer or answered unsatisfactorily, you were to be shot.
In cold blood? You can't get away with this. You've no right to kill me.
You are our prisoner.
Maybe I am, but England isn't at war with you blokes. The only fighting we've done is to defend ourselves against your attacks. You've no authority to take me prisoner.
We have the authority of general attack.
Which I don't recognize, and neither will the British government. My friends saw you take me aboard this ship. They'll report it. And if I'm not released, there'll be trouble. If I'm killed, there'll be much trouble. Such a stir that your tin pot rebellion will be blown to pieces. Now stop this nonsense and release me. I demand it.
Neither your demands nor your threats are impressive. You are our prisoner. You will answer my questions. If you do
I
not...
will not answer your filthy questions. Take me to your captain. If you won't listen to me, I'll...
If you do not answer these questions, you will be shot. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand, but I'm telling you, you can't do it.
I shall repeat the first question.
Oh, for Pete's sake, man, I've heard the confounded thing 15 times. Put that gun away and...
What are you British concerned with on Dolphin Island?
Oh, run away. Get to blazes out of this and leave me in peace.
You will not answer.
No.
If you do not answer, my instructions are that you are to be shot.
Now, look, old chap, we're going round in circles. You ask me the question, I won't answer. You say you have to shoot me, I say you can't. You ask me the question, I won't answer. We'll go on all night at this rate.
You understand? Yet you will not talk.
I will not talk. Only one syllable in every word. Understand?
I understand. This is great pity. You will suffer because of this.
You're putting away that gun? Aren't you going to shoot me?
My instructions are to inform you that you will be shot and to threaten you with my revolver. If that has no effect, I am to inform you that you will be questioned again when we reach Victoria Point.
Bluff. Well, I'm blowed. The old bluff, and you thought you could pull it on me. This is priceless.
Within a few hours, there will be no laughter on your face, Englishman. Already we approach Victoria Point. When you are landed there, you will be questioned by General Firetuck himself.
Yes.
With him, there will be no bluff.
The old tubs were about 40 miles from Victoria Point when we flew over them. And sailing full steam ahead too, by Jove. They'll be in port by midnight.
I see. Thanks for the report, Bertie. It confirms the information we already have. Did you and Tug have any mishaps this time?
Not even a backfire. We dumped the full kites in Singapore, grabbed a couple of empties, and tootled straight back here as fast as our old tootlers could tootle us. Tug's getting the boys onto the loading now.
Good. Well, you can grab some sleep and then take off as soon as the kites are full. Lai, how's the loading of the Sumatran going?
The hold loading will be completed by midnight, but there will remain much space on the decks. I was planning to leave with a full ship.
Oh. Will the deck loading take you beyond dawn?
It is possible. The loading itself may be complete, but it will be daylight before I can weigh anchor.
All right, then forget the decks. I want you well clear of the island before it's light.
I shall work according to that plan.
I say, why the panic, old bean? I rang the naval wallers in Singapore to tell them that the Sumatran was coming down, but I didn't think she'd be leaving until tomorrow.
The destroyers, you clunk. Why do you think they're putting in to Victoria Point?
Sizzling sausages. You mean the blighters might have a crack at the jolly old Sumatran?
Yes, either that or they'll bombard the island. However, we'll forestall both ideas.
You've thought of something, have you, Biggles? I've been tearing my brain all day, but I can't see any way of holding them off the island.
My scheme will keep them anchored at Victoria Point. Very much so. And I was mulling over the Shansi affair when it occurred to me, so I called you together at once.
I say, don't go too fast, old bean. We Lissies have been out of the swim for a couple of days, burbling back and forth to Singapore, you know. What particular canker is nagging the old noodle?
Well, the problem is to prevent the naval vessels from attacking the island. We can protect the Sumatran by making sure she's clear by dawn. If the ships put into port during the night, they certainly won't come across here before daylight.
Right. The Lissies are up to date, right up to the jolly old minute. What's the brilliant brainchild?
Shansi, the built-up riverbanks. You remember them, Ginge?
I remember them all right, but I can't see the connection with the ships.
The ships will anchor in the mouth of the Pak Chan, the same river which is artificially held to its course 50 miles away from Shansi. Lai, can you tell me where the ships are likely to anchor at Victoria Point?
It is only possible for them to anchor midstream, close to the position from which we took the Sumatran. The river is not deep, and if large vessels venture too close to the shore, they are in danger of going aground.
I see. They usually pick a spot which is safe, but as close to the shore as they can make it, eh?
Exactly.
Right. Then my plan will work. I'd heard that there's a fair amount of silt at the mouth of the Pak Chan, making it shallow. So we'll make it shallower. We'll leave those ships high and dry on the mud.
But how on earth can we do that?
Major Marling dammed the river back at Shansi because it had a nasty habit of breaking away from its bed and flooding over the low-lying country. He said that whenever that happened, the river proper was little more than a shallow swamp.
That is true. Before the Major constructed his embankment, it was navigable only to the shallowest of craft.
And the mouth, by the village of Victoria Point. Would a ship the size of a destroyer be safe anchored there?
No. No, most certainly not. Of course, after a time, the river flowed back to its bed and the anchorage would be as it is now. But this diversion of the waters occurred at flood time. It was the sudden depletion of the flow to the river which caused the level to drop. I see what you would like to happen, Biggles. But the flooding is necessary to cause it.
We shall cause the flood.
What's that? I say, old sausage, we Lissies can't be as up-to-date as we thought. Something must have slipped past the old brain box somewhere.
I get it. We flood the river by smashing the embankment at Shansi.
Yes, precisely, Ginge. The banks of the river are strengthened, and there's a small weir across it. So all we have to do is smash that weir, and quite a considerable volume of water will be let loose to flood the lower reaches. That will drop the level of the river proper, and the destroyers will be high and dry on the mud.
But Biggles, they'll only stay like that for a while. When the river flows normally again,
And by that time we'll have moved a lot more rubber and may have rescued Algy.
Then you are going after him?
Yes, I am. But it depends entirely on the success of this. So we won't go into that scheme yet.
Biggles, your idea is all very well, but how can we smash those embankments? We've no bombs, and there are fighters at Shansi.
My dear, we'll make bombs. I noticed there was quite an amount of explosive in your armoury, Li. How are you off for detonators?
I have ample. And fuses, too.
No, it's all right. We shan't need the fuses. The concussion of the bombs being dropped from the kite will set off the debts, and if we aim them properly, that's all we want.
But the fighters, they aren't going to be so easy.
No, old boy, nothing will be easier about this job. It'll be as risky as anything we've tackled. But if we time the operation to drop our eggs at first light, there's a chance we'll catch the enemy asleep and dodge his fighters.
A dawn patrol, what?
Yes, that's right. Now, you and I will take the empty kite, Ginge. We'll set off half an hour before dawn, and we'll stooge about until we're sure we can see. And then we'll drop the cookies and bolt for our lives.
Gosh, it isn't going to be a picnic.
No, boy, it isn't, but it'll be better than facing naval guns. Now, come along. Let's make our bombs and then grab some sleep. We'll need all our wits about us in this sortie.
Where do you reckon we are?
We're well beyond Shansi. I'm keeping clear of the place until it's light, so that the noise of our donks won't disturb them. Those fighter pilots will wake soon enough.
That's what's giving me the shivers. We'll make the dickens of a row dropping this stuff. They'll tear out to their kites at the first pop.
Yes, we'll have to be right on the target, first go. It'd be too risky to waste time dropping a pattern.
It'll be too risky, period, if you ask me. We'll need to make only one blow and we're gone.
I say it's beginning to lighten in the east there. We may as well turn now. By the time we reach Shansi, there'll be plenty of light for us.
Yes, I hope so. If it's too dark when I drop my first egg, well, the whole dashed future will be dark, that's all.
Oh, come on, buck up, Ginge. Wait till we're really in a spot before you start glooming. Now, come along. Hop down into the nose and open the freight doors. I'll keep contact with you over the intercom.
Roger. So long, old son. See you again sometime. I hope. I can see the wheel now. A bit lower, Biggles.
How's that?
Right. Keep it at that. Don't alter course.
Good luck, Ginge.
Thanks. Any minute now. Here we go, Biggles. It's away. Can you see how I went?
By Jove, you missed. You hit the embankment, but not the weir. I'll come round again.
No, you can't, Biggles. Look at the landing field. They've seen us. The pilots are going for their fighters.
If the fighters are in the air within a few minutes, the big freight plane will never escape. Will Biggles make another attempt to destroy the weir? What will happen to Algy at Point Victoria? Hear many more in thrilling developments in the next chapter of The Air Adventures of Biggles. The Air Adventures of Biggles. In an attempt to destroy the embankment holding back the river above Shansi, Biggles and Ginger make a dawn sortie in a freighter loaded with homemade bombs. As the darkness pales, Biggles brings the big machine low, while Ginger waits tense and nervous at the open doors of the freight compartment, his first bomb ready in his hand. They skim above the weir. He throws the explosive, and Biggles' voice over the intercom tells him he has missed. The river bank was hit, but not the weir. As the plane turns to come in again, Ginger's nervousness turns to genuine alarm. Men are rushing across the landing field to the fighters.
Don't go in again, Biggles. We'll be shot down.
We must go in again, old boy. We haven't breached the weir.
But the fighters will be up by the time we reach it. Head for home. Let's get out of this while we can.
We're going back for one more crack. Have another bomb ready.
I say, Biggles, can you make out what's happening on the landing field? The kites haven't moved, and the men seem to be edging back.
Just wait until I'm set for the run up to the weir, will you? All right, that'll do us. Good grief, it was your first bomb. The landing field is flooding.
Gosh, so it is. The water's pouring through where I smashed the riverbank. Biggles, they're stuck. They can't move their fighters.
Get your mind back on the job, old boy. Weir's coming up. Ready?
I'm ready. Stand by. Here we go. Right, pull out.
A hit. That was a direct hit, Ginge.
What's happening with the planes?
I'll swing round so that we can check on them.
They've had it completely. They'll never take off through that water. Go in again, Biggles. Now we're safe, we can thoroughly smash that weir.
We aren't as safe as all that, old son. They've rigged a machine gun in front of the bungalow. We'd be wise to keep well away.
But it's not like dodging the fighters. We could risk it and drop one more bomb, then we'd be certain of the weir. What do you say?
You've made a decent breach in the center of it, and the water's pouring through. That and the smashed embankment will do all the damage we need. Come back into the cockpit. We'll head for home.
I'm still not satisfied with it, Biggles. There's no sign of the river receding.
You're too impatient, Ginger, son. It'll be some hours before the damage takes effect. That's what I want.
Oh, it's not what I expected at all. Every time we've blown up a dam before, there's been a tremendous rush of water. This time it wasn't much more than a trickle.
Don't worry, it'll do. There's quite a volume of water pressing towards that breach, and all day long it'll work at it, gradually widening it. The water in the river below will rise, and bit by bit it'll break its banks. That'll mean a slow diminishing of the level near the mouth. No one will notice it happening, and it'll be afternoon before they realize the ships are aground. So if our luck holds, they'll stay that way all night. And it's tonight that matters.
Tonight? Well, what's happening then?
Well, I have another plan to put into operation tonight.
Is it to do with Algy?
You'll learn all in good time, old boy. But there are some details I must work out with Ayert back at the island. So you'll have to stay in suspense until then. I say, looks good to see it coming up ahead, doesn't it, Ginge? You know, I didn't admit it to you before, but when we missed the weir the first time, I had a feeling we'd never see the island again.
You had a feeling? I had a plain blue funk. I've never been so certain that we were finished.
I say, just a sec. I say, it's a boat down there, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, well, one of those native car bungs. A houseboat affair. Like the one that first took us to Shansi. It's heading for the island.
Yes, I know. I wonder why.
I don't suppose this is another of Fire Tark's tricks. He's done nothing but send boats against us ever since we arrived.
Well, one boat doesn't constitute an invasion force, old boy. But we'll be careful just the same. I'll have Ayert wait for it and nab the occupants as soon as they put ashore. You know, I'm beginning to distrust strange boats in these waters.
I'm a complete duffer, Pat. My hand was shaking so much when I tossed the first bomb that it landed about 20 feet from the mark.
But you grounded the fighters with it, so why worry? Seems to me you've had a most successful morning.
Yes, I think the results will prove satisfactory. What's the position on the island?
Well, Ayert's been mooning about like a dog that's lost its master all morning. He thinks he should have gone with Lai Chai and the Sumatran.
Yes, I know. He blew down my ear about it a few minutes ago. I'm sorry to split the two of them, but I'll be needing someone here to lead the natives before long.
Is this the scheme you were talking about?
Oh, and don't worry, Ginge, I'll satisfy your curiosity very soon. Pat, how did Bertie and Tug get on?
They left about half an hour after you took off. Tug should be back with an empty freighter sometime this afternoon, and Bertie will bring the new amphibian as soon as he can.
I hope to blazes the RAF will give him one. I'm growing very fed up of herring about in these confounded freighters. They're too big and too darn slow.
Yes, but they are beginning to shift the rubber. Although I wish we had about 5 times as many on the job. I've ordered the natives to load the kite we brought in, Pat. You can take it south as soon as it's ready.
But that'll leave you without a plane.
Don't worry, we shan't need one. Not for tonight's job.
What is this business about tonight? You've been teasing Ginge about it ever since you came back.
Good grief. Biggles,
Uh-huh.
look who's here, coming up the steps with Ayat.
Well, I'm blowed. Prince Lala. Now, how in the blazes did he get here?
You tell Ayat catch rebel in Kabang Tuan. Me catch him quick time when he land, bring him to you.
So you were in that boat?
Yes. Oh, it is good to be with you, Inspector. For 2 days, Malong and I have been almost despaired of reaching the island.
Who's Melong?
Our overseer from Shansi, he escaped with me.
Melong sick. Ayat take him to native hut, bind wounds, give him food. I think maybe he die if I bring him for talk with Tuan.
Yes, splendid. If he's wounded, you did the right thing, Ayat. Pat, perhaps you could help.
Of course, I'll see what I can do for him.
Go with her, will you, Ayat? You may be needed as interpreter. Besides, you have plenty of work to do preparing for tonight.
Yeah, tonight good fight, plenty kill. Oh, bagus, mati. Ayat plenty happy about tonight, Tuan. Selamat, Romana, Tuan.
You're very kind, Inspector. Malong has bad wounds, and I fear without attention he may die.
I'm very glad you brought him here, Lala. I say, what on earth happened at Shansi?
Oh, it is a sad tale. After you left, my father immediately had our men prepare the landing field for you, and at the same time made preparations for the defense of Shansi against another attack. Naturally, we considered that this would come from the river.
Well, how else could it come?
As it did, from the air. 2 days ago, we were wakened at dawn by the sound of aeroplanes. We thought it was your machines arriving to collect the rubber, so we didn't arm ourselves before rushing down to greet them. There were 3 large planes, and they were filled with men. Rebels come to attack us.
And the fighters, the small planes, came later?
Yes. They'd stayed in the sky until the fighting was finished, and that was not very long, and then landed. Now, this I saw from the jungle, to which I'd escaped with Malong.
Your father?
Well, I do not know. He led the house servants while I tried to assemble the coolies. We were fighting in different places, but the results were the same. Our men were slaughtered. When it was over, I searched for my father, but he was not to be seen. I feel that he's dead.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lala.
When we were certain we could do no more, Malong and I determined to reach you here on Dolphin Island. We traveled through the jungle to the coast, and for the last 20 miles, Malong was raving with the pain of his wounds, and I was forced to carry him. We were fortunate to find a family of Celonis who sailed us across to you in their cabang. Well, that is all I have to tell.
And it's enough. What's this scheme of yours, Biggles? Isn't there some way we can turn it so that we can retake Shansi?
No, I'm afraid Shansi's lost to us for the moment. Our forces here are so small that we can tackle only one operation at a time. And tonight's concerns Algy. So, Ginge, you'll have your wish. It may not work, but tonight we're going to attempt to rescue Algy.
What's this place you've brought me to? I demand to see someone in authority.
You may now make your demands to another jailer, Englishman. I am weary of them. This is your new prison.
What is it? Smells like a pigsty.
It is adequate for our purpose. I have been with General Firetak all the morning, and I have been discussing you with him. It is his wish that you stay in the common jail until he is ready to see you.
I want to see him now. He can't have me arrested like this.
This is your prison. Go in.
I'll go in. But I'm warning you, if something isn't done about this mighty soon...
Now stay there and complain to the walls. No more shall I suffer such a plaguing of demand.
Oh, well, it was worth trying.
Morning.
What? Oh, sorry, I didn't see you sitting over there. I thought I was alone.
Can't stand up to meet you. One of the swine jabbed a bayonet through my leg. Marling's my name. Marling of Shanxi.
Major Marling! What on earth... I'm Lacey, one of Biggles' men. I'd no idea you'd been captured.
Oh, that state of mind was mutual, old man.
I sincerely hope Dolphin Island hasn't fallen to the devils.
No, not at least that I know of. I was picked up in the sea a couple of days ago. But what happened at Chansey?
Well, it seems to me we'd better start off by exchanging stories. And when each knows where the other stands, we'll see what we can do about this confounded situation. You start the ball rolling.
Well, I was flying up from Singapore in the Wanderer, an amphibian kite we were using for general duty work.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of 100 miles south of here, a rebel fighter tore into me and I was shot into the drink.
Well, when I was wounded, I was carried in the bungalow and given a rough dressing. Some hours later, I was brought down here to Victoria Point by plane. That scoundrel, Fire Tack, questioned me about my rubies, and when I refused to tell him where they're hidden, he had me thrown in here.
We seem to be in a similar spot. They want some information from me, too.
Well, I'm afraid our spotters all do similar, old man. With the look of you, I'd say you won't give anything away either.
Not in your life. They can question me till kingdom come, and I still won't talk.
And your outlook isn't cheerful. You see, Friar Tack is going to personally question us both again, but you only once. If we refuse to answer, we're to be executed.
This time there is unlikely to be any bluff in the rebels' threat. Can Marling and Algy escape this fate? Be listening for the next thrilling chapter of The Air Adventures of Biggles. The Air Adventures of Biggles. The rebel ship put into Victoria Point during the night, but it is late in the morning before Algy is taken ashore. He is thrown into a prison, and to his surprise finds Major Marling sharing his cell. He discovers that his arrival in the village is not unexpected, and that Marling already knows the fate planned for them both. They are to be questioned once more, this time by the rebel leader, Fire Tack himself. And if they do not answer, they are to be executed.
I thought you didn't know me when I came in.
I don't know who you were, but I was told another English prisoner would be thrown into this cell.
Well, what's all this about execution? How did you learn about that?
Because, unconsciously, old man, you were the means of prolonging my life. Poor old Fire Tack was having a rough time with his questions, and he reached the stage of ordering one of his guards to shoot me. That moment, a message came from the ship which was carrying you, saying that she'd be in port during the night.
And he decided we'd provide more entertainment for him if we were to die together, huh?
Something like that. He didn't tell me who you were or how you came to be captured, but he said we'd be questioned together and executed together. You can imagine how eagerly I've been waiting your arrival.
An officer on the ship tried to bluff me with this same killing threat, and I wasn't having any. I've had a sneaking hope that I'd find it was bluff here, too.
You can get that idea right out of your head. There's no bluff about Fire Tack. He must badly want information from you, or you would have been killed on the ship. But once he's quite sure he won't get it, I'm afraid it's the end.
I don't suppose it's any use pulling this British subject stunt again.
None. I noticed you were bouncing your naval officer with the same business when he brought you in. Forget it. Fire Tack is a law to himself in this place, and he isn't the least afraid of the British.
He may be before he's through. My bluster wasn't meant very seriously, but I thought anything was worth a try. I'm not going to answer any questions, but quite frankly, I'm not keen on dying. I'd like to find some way out of this.
Yes, I hardly agree with you. But what can we do? It's only a tiny village, and there are quite a few troops here. Even if we did break out of the prison, we couldn't get very far.
Which means we'll have to submit meekly to this rebel bounder. I'm hanged if I'll do that.
There'll be no submission to his questioning, no matter what pressure he brings to bear. But I'm afraid, young fellow, we may have to submit to death. And if we do, by George, we'll show the swine how to die. We won't give them the pleasure of seeing us grovel.
I'll worry about the way I die when I'm satisfied there's no other alternative. But I'm not satisfied yet, not by a long way.
That's what I like to see, spirit. You go ahead with your ideas. See if you can spot a way out for us. I'm all for it if you can, but I'm too old to share your optimism. I'm far too old. Given up your ideas, old man?
No, I haven't given up, but I'm not getting anywhere. If you didn't have a gammy leg, we might work it, but I can't see how I can get you away with me.
Don't worry about me. If you can think of a way of saving yourself, don't throw it away because of my leg. You're young. Clear out if you can. I'll face my music calmly enough.
I'm not clearing out without you.
Now look here, young fella.
They're coming for us.
Seems Fire Tech's ready for his final session. Bad luck, old boy.
Prisoners, come. General Fire Tech, see you in house.
Well, here we go. Oh, Lacey, would you give me a hand?
Yeah, sure.
It's a bit difficult getting to my feet.
Can you make it? If you can't stand on that leg.
Oh, I'll make it. I can hobble on it. If you'll help me to stand, I'll be right.
Of course.
Why you go close, eh? Keep away from other prisoners.
Now, don't be a fool. I'm helping him. The man's wounded.
You try trick. Keep away.
Oh, go to blazes. Put your arm round my shoulder, Marling.
Better do as he says, old man. Don't like the way he's fingering his gun.
No, I don't care about that.
Prisoner not obey order. He shot. Keep away.
Go on. No point in buying trouble unnecessarily. I'll be all right.
Well, if you're sure. It's plain torture to drag you around with a bayonet hole in your leg.
Now, old man, come.
I'm coming. Just give me a moment. Oh.
Let me help.
Old man, come. Come quick.
There. Now I'm on my feet, I'll be better. Once the blood starts circulating, I'll...
Hey!
Come. General, wait. Come quick.
Stop shoving him, you swine!
It's all right, Lacey. Keep away.
Keep away, be hanged. I'm not going to stand by and watch him push you. Get your hands off.
Lacey! Careful, Lacey!
Back. Away from me. Come close, and I shoot. More time.
Did he hit you?
No, bullet went over my shoulder. I saw what he was up to and ducked. Had to let him go, unfortunately.
Prisoner, through door. I stand by wall. Prisoner go through door first. Prisoner come close. Try to run. I shoot. Go.
Well, you've achieved one thing, old boy. The blood is keeping his distance from us. Now, if you'll give me your arm, we'll hobble across to Friar Tech with some degree of dignity.
How much longer is he going to keep us standing here?
Well, this is usual form. He thinks it terrifies his victims to keep them standing before him while he ignores them.
Silence!
Oh, he's awake. Did you see that, Marling? I thought he was asleep by the way his head was hanging over the desk.
There will be no insolence. Your name is Lacey? Is your name Lacey?
Why didn't you put it that way in the first place? I thought you were making a statement. It would be frightfully insolent for me to speak unless
Silence! Is your name Lacey?
Yes.
Now, answer questions. What were you doing in the aeroplane?
Flying.
Quite so, but why were you flying over the sea?
Well, because it's extremely difficult to fly a plane in the sea.
You do not seem to understand. What I wish to know is why are you in this area?
So do I, by Jove. I told your naval bloke when he brought me to Victoria Point.
I'm not talking of Victoria Point. I refer to Dolphin Island.
Well, why didn't you say so? Well, hang it all, how am I to be expected to understand you if you don't...
Why are you British at Dolphin Island?
Now we come to the point.
I am waiting for your answer. It is no use being silent, Lacey. I know there are British on the island.
Mm-hmm. Then why ask me about them?
I wish to know details. What are you concerned with on the island?
You, mostly.
I shall tell you. You are there to collect rubber stolen by the pirate Lee Shee.
Is that so? You know, I've always wondered why we went there. I must tell the boys when I go back.
This much I know, but I wish details. How many men have you there?
Well, now, let me see. There'd be... no, not that many. Perhaps about Oh, I should think there'd be more than that. What do you think, Major?
Oh, definitely more than that, old man.
You mentioned no number.
Oh, didn't I? I'm terribly sorry. Oh, it's gone right out of my head now.
I think you play with me. I think this is insolence.
Then just keep thinking, old chap. It'll do you good. Only let us get the blazes out of this while you do it. I'm sick of this interview.
So, you play with fire attack. You do not answer questions.
I'm not in an answering mood.
I make a last offer to you, Lacey. If you tell me the details I wish to know, you will be allowed to live. Will you tell?
Hopeful little chap, isn't he, Major?
He's a born optimist like you.
You should tell that to the blokes back on the island.
I accept your rudeness as negative answer. Very well, I shall return to you in a moment, Lacey. Now, Major Marling, because I am a man of great patience, I give you a last opportunity to save your life. Where have you hidden your rubies at Shansi?
Gala blazes.
Ah, that answer will assure your death. Now, before we proceed further, I wish you both to observe a little comedy from my window. Come.
Are you all right, Major? Can I give you a hand across?
No, thanks, no. I'd rather not show them my
Do not stand muttering. I wait for you by the window.
We're coming.
Oh, you see, there are several of my men ready to move at my signal. There is also a man of yours, Marling.
Good heavens.
Who is it?
That boy there standing with his hands bound. That's Yamil, the son of my overseer, Milong. What are you going to do with him, Firetuck?
You will observe. You will notice that there is a large block of wood on the ground.
That big chap, he has an axe.
Oh, he is my executioner. I raise my hand. So? See? The boy is dragged to the block.
Yamil! Camille! Have courage, Camille!
I drop my hand. Observe.
Scum! Filthy, rotten scum! That's all you are, Firetuck. That lad did you no harm.
He refused to answer my questions. I warned him what would happen if he did not disclose to me the hiding place of your rubies.
He didn't know. Why'd you have to treat my people like this?
The boy is no longer of importance. He has demonstrated my methods to you, and that was my purpose. Now, you have seen what happened to those who are stubborn. Lacey? As you wish. Marling.
You have my answer. Go to blazes.
Then you leave me no alternative. Guard, the executioner is waiting for these prisoners. Take them to him.
Algy leans to give Marling his hand as the guard moves towards them. Can they escape death at this late stage? What is Biggles' plan for Algy's rescue? Don't miss the thrills in the next chapter of The Air Adventures of Biggles. The Air Adventures of Biggles. There is no way of escape for Algy and Major Marling, and eventually they are forced before Firetuck for questioning. For a while, Algy answers evasively, but when the rebel leader realizes that he will learn nothing from the Englishman, he forces them to watch the beheading of a native boy. They are warned that this will be their fate unless they talk. When they refuse this, their last chance, Firetuck orders the guard to lead them to the executioner.
There's nothing I can do about this, Firetuck. But I wish from the bottom of my heart that our position were reversed. I'd like to see your head roll off that block.
You are hypocrites, you English. You give me abuse for killing in such a way, and now you admit that you would enjoy the sport.
Sport? I'd like to give him sport.
You shall. Take them, guard. I shall stand by my window and I shall enjoy their last agonies.
Well, come on, Marling. Let's get it over. Will you take my arm?
To the dickens with your arm. I'll show this little yellow rat that I'm not frightened to die.
He's a whopper, this executioner bloke. I wonder if he knows his job.
I should think so, from the way he's swinging that axe about. What the deuce is the delay? If they're going to kill me, I wish they'd get it over.
Steady, Major. That's the reason for the delay. Fire Tuck's sitting at the window, waiting to see if our nerves will crack.
My nerve wasn't cracking. But I'll get darn bad-tempered if something doesn't happen in a minute. My leg's giving me jip standing around like this.
I think that's in Fire Tuck's scheme, too. He'd like to see you ask for support.
I'll ask for nothing. Wonder which of us will go first.
How about tossing for it? It'll show these blighters how much we care about them.
Funny good idea. They were coin, they fleeced me.
Ah, here we are. You call.
Heads.
Bad luck. It's a tail. My head tumbles first.
You know, this is ridiculous. Here we are drawing lots to see who'll dive first, and you say it's bad luck for me to be second. Here we go. Fire Tuck's raising his arm.
Then this is it.
Afraid so. Yes, the executioner's motioning to you. Goodbye, old chap. Sorry we didn't see more of each other.
Goodbye.
Hello? Something's come unstuck. What's that fellow rushing into the house for?
That's the naval officer who brought me ashore this morning. He seems excited about something.
Is it all excited? They're jabbering too much. I can't understand what's causing it.
Never mind, it's puzzled the executioner, too. He doesn't know whether to go in with the show or not.
Stand fast and we'll persuade him against it. There's what's holding up proceedings. Your naval bloke is talking to Fire Tech.
His news can't be any too bright.
Anything that will distract Fire Tech's attention is bright for us, old man. Yes, I am feeling distinctly more cheerful.
Here's our guard. We're going back. What do you think, Marling? We're being taken back to the jail. What do you make of it? Why should they suddenly call off proceedings like that?
I've been trying to work it out. On the way back here, I picked up scraps of conversation, but I can't make sense of them.
What were they?
Well, it seems to have something to do with the river and the ships that brought you in. I thought I heard someone say that the level of the river had dropped and the ships were aground, but I don't think that's possible.
It seems wrong somewhere. We aren't far from the estuary here.
No, it isn't that. The water's shallow enough, full of silt dragged down in flood time. In fact, when I first came to the district, such occurrences were quite common. But I banked the river and built a weir at Shanksy, specifically to prevent the river dropping. Still, Friar Tech obviously considers it of more importance than our execution, so why should we care?
You say it's your weir that prevents the river dropping.
That's right. I allow a reasonable flow of water into the river to prevent it flowing and leaving its bed. In its natural state, it's very prone to do that.
Then, if something happened to your weir, the whole effect would be ruined. I mean, there'd be a flood and the river would behave as it used to.
Oh, I shouldn't think so, boy. But the weir is very solidly constructed. I can't see what could go wrong with it after all these years.
Someone might blow it up.
Oh, that's a bit far-fetched, old man. The rebels hold Shanksy. They aren't likely to do anything to ground their own ships. By Jove! You mean that...
Biggles!
Yes.
The destruction of that embankment is exactly the type of stunt that would appeal to Biggles. I don't know what they're up to, but I'll bet my gang are cooking up something for Fire Tuck, and that this fall in the river has something to do with it all.
I've done all I can for Mellon. He's very badly wounded, but I think he'll live.
You are most kind, ma'am. My father has always insisted on the best of treatment for our people at Shanxi, and it pained me that I could do so little for poor Mellon.
Don't worry, we'll do our best for him, Leonard. Well, Pat, I'm glad you're back. I'm about to put Ginge out of his misery by telling him my plans for tonight. Just as well for you to know what's going on, too.
We'll be going to rescue Algy. The old dark horse has been planning it all along.
Yes, of course I have. You young hotheads bounce in without a moment's thought, and because I don't do the same thing, you think I have no feeling. Don't worry, I've been as concerned about Algy as any of you. But I've had to evolve some scheme which would help him without wrecking the entire rubber-moving operation.
Will I be with you, Biggles?
No, I'm afraid not, Bat. You'll have a kite-load of rubber to take to Singapore shortly. That's top priority for you.
Oh, come on, Biggles, what is the plan?
We're going to raid Victoria Point.
What?
But that's the rebel headquarters. All their troops are there.
Oh, you cannot succeed with that, Inspector.
Just a second. Consider the arguments for and against the idea before you jump in.
There's one jolly good argument for it. Algy's there.
That's the object, of course. To whip in quickly, grab Algy, and run for our lives before the rebels know what's going on. The second big advantage is that a raid like this will be the last thing they'll expect from us.
Oh, but you'll be outnumbered, Inspector. There are so many of Fire Attack's men at Victoria Point.
I wonder. You see, during the last few days, we've had several brushes with his forces. We've inflicted several very heavy casualties on them. I understand from Lai Chai that most of the rebels are kept constantly in the jungle, marauding against loyal settlements. So at the most, the Fire Tuck would keep only a few hundred at his headquarters. So if we've mauled those as badly as we think, the opposition to the raid won't be so formidable.
But the ships are there. What will happen if they turn their guns on you?
By tonight, when the raid will take place, those ships should be keeling over on their sides in shallow water. It will be very difficult to bring their guns into play, particularly if it's a hit-run affair, and we're out of it before the gunners can adjust them.
It is a most daring plan, but despite all you've said, I still feel you'll be outnumbered. How many men have you on the island? 70, 80?
Even less now that some of them have gone off as crew of the Sumatran. But I won't be using more than 50.
50? Good grief, Biggles, we'll need more than that.
This will be a commando raid, Ginge. A carefully selected team of first-rate fighters can do far more damage in a short time than a big unwieldy mob. Ayat is handpicking the men now. And I should think those he'll choose will make ideal commandos.
Those pirates will love it. I'm sorry I shan't be here to see the preparations. Ayat's relish when he's looking forward to a fight is most infectious.
Well, don't worry, there'll be plenty of relish, but it'll be a hard fight. And, Pat, I think you'll be better out of it, my dear. You can check if your kite's loaded and hop off as soon as you like.
Tug and Bertie will be in by tonight. Are you going to let them join the fun?
No, boy. Their job is strictly rubber carrying. I don't want anything to interfere with it. As a matter of fact, they should have been in some time ago. I wonder what's keeping them.
It's probably Bertie showing off in the new amphibian. You know what he's like with a new toy.
He'll have Tug stuck at the other end of the radio telephone, being ear-bashed unmercifully, I know that. They'll be all right, Biggles. Might have been held up by bad weather.
Yes, I hope so. Well, off you go, Pat, and we'll see how Ayat's going with his commandos.
Bertie calling Tug. This is Bertie calling Tug. What ho, old sausage? Are you receiving? Over.
Reception okay? Look, Bertie, isn't it time you stopped hearing around in that gosling? If you go scooting around the Indian Ocean all day, we won't reach the island before dark. How about some serious flying for a while? Over.
If the situation was different, we lissies would take profound umbrage at that chiding tone, old trout. But as it is, we're the bearer of sad tidings. We haven't been waffling over the ocean for fun. We've been looking for the jolly old Sumatran, and we can't find her.
And if she left at midnight last night, she must be as far south as this. Surely you haven't missed her. Over. Quickly.
Absolutely. Absolutely certain. I made casts back and forth to a depth of over 50 miles. The old tub's just disappeared. Over.
She must have engine trouble, that's all. We may strike her somewhere between here and Dolphin Island. Let's keep well apart and search very carefully for her. Bertie? Hello? Tug calling Bertie. There's something strange in this atoll below me. Come across and see what you think.
Coming over. Don't lose height, old bean. These islands are nearly all in rebel hands. If you drop too close, the blighters will pop at you with their ek-ek.
I'm not going down, but there are two ships anchored in the lagoon. I think one of them is the Sumatran.
Sizzling sausages it is, too. And the other blighters moored right beside her. Almost as if they're grappled together, what?
What the blazes is going on? Why should she be at the island? And what's that other ship, eh?
Well, I hate to admit it, old sausage, but I'm afraid Lie's been forced to take the Sumatran there.
Don't say.
In these waters, that other tub could belong only to the rebel blighters.
The two pilots fly as close as they dare, but Bertie's theory seems the only possible one. What has happened to the Sumatran? Be sure you hear the next exciting chapter of The Air Adventures of Biggles.